Australians, Kiwis, they're basically the same thing, right?
G'day and welcome to this instructional video on the difference between Australia and New Zealand.
Is it bad that after over 2 years, I wouldn't 100% be able to tell you which one's which?
Over the years, a lot of you fellas have thought I'm from Australia, but I don't sound anything like an Australian. Over the years, a lot of you fellas have thought I'm from Australia, but I don't sound anything like an Australian. So, see that was like Australian-ness talk. I'm from New Zealand.
There's a reason, let's just say, why people struggle to know if you're a New Zealander, if you're an Australian, and sometimes if you're a South African, because those accents do sound quite similar with a slight twang. It's almost like Canadians and Americans. They sound pretty much the same, bar one or two words that they pronounce slightly differently.
Some quick fire facts. Australians are known as Aussies, while us New Zealanders are known as Kiwis. And that's because we have, here in New Zealand, Kiwis. They're like a little bird. In Australia, you got like kangaroos. In Australia, you throw boomerangs, while here in New Zealand, we throw gumboots.
Some wellies.
Just like that. Yeah, I know at the start of my videos I say g'day, which a lot of people think is just an Australian greeting. But we also say that here in New Zealand. It's like a shared word between the two countries. Things we don't share with Australia are Lord of the Rings, the All Blacks, Taika Waititi, and Pavlova.
Throw the last one in there. We raged that debate on even further. Pavlova, is it Kiwi? Is it Australian? Or is it British? I'm just throwing it in there. But that is some good things. I don't really like Lord. I'm not a massive fan, but Lord of the Rings is amazing. Old Taika Waititi, whatever his name is, also brilliant. I'm not a massive fan of Pavlova, to be fair. Charlie likes it, but she prefers it as Eton mess, which is basically smashed up Pavlova.
Which is a delicious dessert that we definitely don't share with the Australians, but they stole it. They've claimed that, and they've claimed a big long list of other, but we won't. We'll move on from that. That's Australians wear budgie smugglers to the beach, where here in New Zealand we wear togs. They're just a bit more family friendly, really. Australia's a pretty big place, while New Zealand is quite a small place. Like cool small though, not like haha small. Australians call this a fish when it's clearly a fish. This is a chili bin because it's a bin that keeps things chilled. But in Australia they've called it an esky. Kind of makes no sense, cobber. Chili bin, much better. Australians chuck shrimp on the barbie, but we just throw like sausages or lamb chops or like a boil up. You could probably do just chuck the pot on.
That is funny, and I've learned about it. They don't throw shrimp on the barbie, Aussies. It was an advert. It was an advert for the Americans, wasn't it? Disappointing. It's disappointing that the Aussies tried to appease the Yanks. What is wrong with them? They're prawns.
Boil it up. This is obviously a jandal, a Japanese sandal, jandal. But in Australia, they've got very confused and they've gone ahead and called it a thong. Thong. We don't leave.
That's the funny thing, right? For starters, at least a jandal does make some sense, right? It does make some sense. Thong, no, it's a flip-flop. Or I will prefer. Actually, jandal sounds weird. Jandal does sound quite weird. But thong. Thong. Oh, hilarious.
We don't leave out any letters of our country. We call New Zealand, New Zealand. But Australians, they call Australia just Australia. Oh, back home in Australia. It's a bit weird. Anyway, I could go on forever, but that would be a lap too far. This house is already pretty crowded with all the Australian lingo. So I'm how to dad, and I'm not from Australia. You know, I'm from New Zealand. And we'll never be royals, royals.
Well, thanks, How To Dad. Very enjoyable. I did enjoy that. There are some clear differences I can see. However, he did highlight things that are pretty much the same. Aussies and Kiwis do sound more or less the same. More or less, with the odd few words. I think the problem is, old Taiki Watiti, or whatever his name is, I can never get it right. I think he kind of goes over the top, right? His accent is really, really strong, and you can sort of tell the difference. Most of the time, sound the same. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.